class!
Hey, how you doing? I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to draw trees and their foliage
Oh, isn't this cooking?
as well. So I'm going to keep my tree and the foliage in separate parts. So first I'll just draw some bare trees, 2 of them, and then I'll draw some foliage when I get done. So you don't need a lot. You can use a felt tip pen if you don't have a technical. And you can use a regular pencil if you don't have one of these. So that's fine. So I just use this because I'm just used to it. Anyway, so basically,
Are you taking this art class too?
you can draw cylinders. That's pretty much it. So one thing you want to do is when you start, just sort of establish a horizon line. You don't necessarily need it, but it's good to have it in. And then, and also just keep in mind the elements that are in a tree. You have mostly cylinders and triangles. So that's pretty much it. So like at the base of a tree, you'll have like a triangle shape like this, right? And then you can have some like a cylinder would be the trunk, like a barrel, a large barrel like that. So, and then you could have some small, maybe like a cylinder cone at the bottom that comes out like this, and some smaller cylinder shapes here that are like triangles. So you have a triangle here and a sort of a cylinder triangle here, and same thing over here, another cylinder shape that tapers off like a triangle, like that. And then the main barrel cylinder here, you have these small little ones that come off like this. And you can do it any way you want. So you have an even smaller one here like this. And it goes up like this. And they get smaller as you progress. Each one is smaller than the first. And the same thing with your trunk. So you say this is your main trunk. And then you have a smaller cylinder as you go up that taper off. Like that. So as soon as you've established your shape, you can start to draw a guide here. Don't use your ink pen. If you're doing this in ink, don't use that just yet. Just do this in pencil first. And maybe have this branch here sort of in the front. It gives a little bit of a 3-dimensional appearance. And it goes like this. So, but these little branches here, you can actually just go like this. Just as a guide when you get to that point. Curving it down like this. And then to the ground here. And then this is obviously the root, disappears into the ground like that. And then this root here, the front, same thing. And as well, this one here. So maybe this branch here is not in front as much as this one. This is more in the front. This one's kind of on the side. There's your basic shape. So now you can, if you feel confident at this point, or you can continue on if you want to use it and just put in more pencil detail if you still don't feel confident just yet. But at this point, I'm going to switch over to my ink pen. This is a 0.35. In 0.3, probably more likely you'd be using. You use a 0.5 as well, but with a 0.5, you may not get the same level of detail. your lines are obviously going to be thicker. So if you're looking for a cartoony look, then use a 0.5 or even a 0.7. Let me just, I have a little card here I use to just get that little dab of ink off, because I find if my pen sits too long, it just sort of makes a bit of a blob. So I just have a piece of paper here. I get that little blob of ink off before I actually start. So I just go like this. Bottom, just go very light. This is be more of a guide when you get to the point where you start drawing bark. So you can do little guides here as well. So this is just as a reminder. It's good to put this in. It's very lightly. You won't see it when you're done. So like if you were doing like a landscape or something like that, then obviously you'd have some grass in the front. Like that. So, but I'm using this drawing for something else eventually. Right now it's for your tutorial, but I'm going to be using it for something else later on, another project. So I'm not going to have grass in the front of this area here. Add some more guides here, just to sort of remind myself here a little bit when I put in my bark. Like that. So now you get your main trunk, and then you got your arteries off of that now. And you start drawing in the small branches here. And there's varying levels of detail you can do. I'm going to be sort of what I call medium detail. I'm not going to go too heavy, but it may seem like heavy detail, but for me, this is going to be medium detail. So I drew all these little, I kind of almost finished this branch. I did this more of like a template, so I can kind of use it as a guide for my other ones here. But for these other ones, I'm just going to draw the secondary arteries, branches, all of them first in before I start doing detail like this. I'm going to do a little one just off like that. So maybe this one is from behind and you can't see where it's coming from. I'm going to put this one like this in the front as well. Let's go back and add some guides here and here. Just to remind myself that it is a three-dimensional drawing that I'm doing, and it has a curve to it. So these here, the little branches here, as soon as you've drawn a couple, you just do the same thing over and over again, really. But don't be the same each time. They should always be different. But at the same time, they should have a similarity to them. Like, for example, you don't want to, like, if you're drawing a branch that comes out like this, right? You don't want to suddenly go like that, you know, like a Tim Burton or something like that, because it has to be like the same appearance of being the same species of tree, right? For the tree that you're drawing. So, and the same thing if you're doing a landscape of a forest. the trees that are together are going to be similar, the same species, if they're together, most of them anyways. So try to make sure that they're all fairly similar. But unless you're doing an obvious forest where there's going to be a mixture of maple leaf and oak and birch trees and pine trees, whatever, right? It's kind of good to sort of group a few of them together, not have them just completely scattered among each other. It just won't look right. Just like when you see like a pine forest, like look on Google Earth, you notice like if you go like on Google Earth, all the pine trees are kind of grouped together. Then you'll have a bunch of birch trees, right? And then a bunch of oak trees and a bunch of pine trees or whatever other types of trees. They're kind of grouped together, so. Oops, my camera there. Sorry about that. So that's pretty much it there. So that's the first one I'm going to do for you guys right now. So, okay. So right now I'm just drawing guides for my bark. And just so I have a pattern to follow. And it's up to you even if you want to do bark or not. You don't have to. You can just paint it. Or you can do a detailed bark like I'm about to do here. I'm going to time-lapse it for you at this point.
One eternity later.
figured you didn't want to sit and watch me do bark, so that's what I time-lapsed it, and I did this one here. It's a simpler version of this one. I time-lapsed that one as well because I kind of figured you probably understood more or less what I did here, so I just did a simple version of this one here. So I'm going to time-lapse it again for the bark. Well, maybe I could show you a little bit of what I'm doing. Let me just zoom in here if I can. Yeah, so this is how I do it, right? So it's just like, I'm just doing these little shapes like this. So I'm just following these guides. I would have started down at the bottom, but this is just to show you what I'm doing here, how I do my bark. So it's like these little N-shaped things I'm drawing. That's all it is, and they're not symmetrical. They're pretty random, and you bunch them closer together around the edges. And then you can spread them out here and then bunch them again around the edges just to give it a three-dimensional look. And then sort of shade it in here like that, just add a bit of a shadow. That's how I do that, really. So here I'm going to draw the clumps of leaves rather than showing them up here. And I leave this alone, and I'm just going to draw how I do my leaves here. So I'm going to draw like several little examples here. I'm going to do like maybe 8 examples. So I'm just going to highlight the different ones. So I keep all my shapes a little bit different, or different but slightly similar. And I'm just doing a little outline here so I have something to follow. I did sort of pencil in something earlier just to map out my paper space so I know how much paper space I'm using, and just so everything's all centered. I did that off camera earlier. And there. So these 8 examples I'm going to show you. I hate seeing pencil lines left over. That's why I keep on going back like that. But anyways, here. So I just kind of just go like this, really. I just pick a location, and I just start drawing these squiggly little lines like that. Okay, now I just go back over it again. And right now I'm just doing this in certain areas. Just to show like areas where there's light and dark. So only this light area here is in the front, and this dark area here is to the side and behind, or the sun is coming from this way. And it helps to give a little bit of three-dimensional. So like just, you keep this area here light, and then you darken here, and it just sort of helps to give it a bit of a appearance that this is coming out a bit. It's a three-dimensional. Two more examples of this style, and then I'm going to switch to a different style here down at the bottom here, okay? Four examples of that. So now I'm going to try a different one now here. This one I'm going to do a little differently. I start in the center and kind of work my way out like this. And I'm just going like this. Just doing these little V-shaped, but curved at the top. Some of them could be pointed, some of them could be round. Just try to be random with it. Don't put too much thought into it. Working your way out. And then when you come to the edge, just go like this here. Just fill in that area here. And then go back and continue on. And the same thing here. When you hit the edge, just go back. Do another little row here. So every time you hit the edge of this line that I drew earlier, just start another row and break off your, because I was drawing a row like this. So when I hit that edge, you just sort of break it and fill in this area here. Try to monitor my camera, make sure it stays in focus. So sometimes I just sort of stop. I'm actually just looking at my camera. Looks like I'm paused, but it's just me looking up at my camera to make sure it's still in focus. I got this whole area filled in, and you know, you can just sort of go back and just add a little bit of dark areas here and there. There, just like that. This one I'm going to do a little differently. So I kind of have, in a sense, I have two areas here. No, actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to completely separate them. So just ignore this here. And draw a few little leaves that kind of stick out random like this. I'll just go back and draw a few in here. So that's pretty much it there. Yeah, if you have any questions, leave a comment, or if you haven't subscribed, subscribe, like, share this video if you think it'll help somebody else, and you can use it for your class, pass it around. Okay, thank you. Bye.